What's going on, guys? Appreciate you guys tuning in. I had some technical difficulties as always. I think there's something wrong with my laptop. Recently I've been having to use my wife's computer because my camera was messing up. I got that fixed. And then just now when I started it, uh, the mouse was just moving all over the place. I don't know what's going on, but I think we're good to go now. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. Hope y'all have had a great week. I'm sure y'all are just as amped up as I am about this upcoming playoff game. It feels like, it's taken forever to get to Saturday. I'm definitely excited and feeling good about the game. But, as always, we'll just do a live Q&A and I'll kind of go back and forth throughout, kind of going over, just the various stuff. I'll go over the Titans game and I'll go over as well. I'll preview the Chargers game and just whatever else y'all want to talk about. I got TikTok going. Shout out Fawn Edits, my guy. Appreciate you, bro. HTX Avery, question, fire away, brother. Brando, blessed or stressing? I'm blessing, man. I'm big blessing for sure. Let me get rid of this here. So I can get my face on here. There we go. I'd like to get it to where it's the orientation not available while live. Okay. Well, yeah, I was trying to get it to where it'd be the better one for the phone, but that's all good. Shout out J Hood. That's my guy on Instagram. Rodcast23 on IG says, Goat, man. Appreciate you, brother. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but I am, I can't wait for what's to come. I really, I was pretty confident about this game when it was announced, but, the more I've looked into it and as we will look into it together, I've become more confident. I really feel like this is a game we can win. And if we, get out to an early lead, it could be a game that we could win handedly. It's just crazy to me, all the national media hype as far as, hype for the Chargers and none for us, basically the slight on the Texans. But over on TikTok, Avery says, do you think having Agent Zero back on Saturday do you think that will benefit us? Yeah, I mean, that's of course, dude. So I do a weekly show with Ruben, AD, and Harley on the AFC South Roundtable, and I was already feeling pretty confident. And then, I'm usually the most optimistic guy, so I got to kind of try and check myself and not be, too blindly optimistic. But they were more amped up than me, so like seeing them, get amped up, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm all the way in, like confidence wise. But as far as Aziz Alshire, dude, I mean, will he benefit us? Of course. I mean, it's going to be massive. And I didn't realize until yesterday or a couple days ago that this is going to be the first time that we're going to see Aziz Alshire and Christian Harris on a football field together at the same time. And that is just insane to think about for several reasons. The first of which is just their playmaking ability and the speed by both of them. You got Aziz, who's, a physical player, but he's also fast for a Mike linebacker. And then Christian Harris is notorious for his crazy speed for an outside backer going sideline to sideline. And so that's just an absolute game changer. And then the other part of it, too, is we've known this year that Aziz is an enforcer. I mean, obviously, you see these hits, the Trevor Lawrence one, which, we all know how we feel about that. But, he's a tone setter on the field. Like, if you try and get away with some BS, he's going to hit you and let you know about it. So he's definitely, that type of player. But we've also learned that about Christian Harris. Like, Christian Harris is a dog, too. He's got that same kind of mentality. Like, he's chippy after the play. He's talking. So now we got two guys in the middle of the field that are fast, athletic, aggressive, and they talk a lot of crap and they will let you know about it. So like we got two tone setters. So from that aspect, it's going to be insane. Jaden on YouTube says, are you going to be going over film or just discussing the game? I won't do film. I can do film if you want to pull something up, but normally I just review the previous game, the Titans game. I'll go over that really quick, obviously, and then I'll just do like a deep dive into the game and answer questions about it. Damon on IG says, definitely ready. Yes, that's for sure, bro. T Brass says, Texans serving humble pie this weekend. I can't wait. I agree. Luke says, which Texans player do you think will need to step up the most in this matchup to beat the Chargers? That's a good question. I have like a lot of keys to the game, but as far as stepping up the most, I'll just say CJ, man. I mean, Like, you hate to say that's the position we're in, but he's definitely had a down year. But we need him to be the CJ of old. I think we can still win if he's, an average quarterback, but it would be nice to have him play at that high level we know he's capable of. So I'll say CJ. Over here, let's see what we got. TikTok, we got Banana King says we're always the underdog, brother. That's true, man. That's why I got my shirt on. Houston versus everybody. This is actually Aziz when he was punching Roshan Johnson. If you want one, you can check it out on my site. I got this and some other ones there too. But number 6 on TikTok says, yo, it is going to snow. I want to know because I want to know if my school is canceled. Not in Houston, brother. Sorry. Easy says, we're beating the Chargers Saturday and losing to the refs in KC. That is a very likely outcome. Texas Randy, you think Deontay Johnson will have more catches Saturday? I do. I don't know if he'll play. I mean, he played 20 snaps against the Titans, so I was surprised at his volume. And then when he did play, like, his usage, they had him in motion a lot, and he had 4 targets, I believe, 2 catches, I believe. But the big thing about Deontay, I've been saying this when we signed him, and it's turned out to be true just from his limited sample size of him playing, and we'll see it when we go over these stats. But to me, he was like a perfect 1-for-1 replacement for Tank Dell from a positional and skill set standpoint. They're both that Z receiver who's primarily outside 70-80% of the snaps, and then goes into the slot and maybe 3-by-1 formations for about 10 to 20 to 30% of the snaps. And then of the 20 snaps he played, it was like 17 out of 20 were outside. So, and he has that same route tree. We saw him hit that comeback, deep comeback / stop route where Mills had a good ball, but that route was nasty. And that's what I was saying when we got him. Like, the skills are there. Like, it's just a matter of getting him acclimated and everything being good on his end. And D'Amico Ryans has proved that he's been able to do it with another receiver who was looked at as a character guy, and Stephon Diggs, and he's saying the same things again with Deontay, basically saying everything starts clean with me, and Caserio saying the same thing. We don't judge you for the past, and so far it seems to be going great. I think the only hurdle for Deontay to get even more involved is just the playbook, which you can't expect too much on that end, but I think he'll be a factor. He seems to be picking it up quick, and I can't wait to see what happens with that. Luke says on IG, what's the general mood within the Texans locker room heading into this playoff game? Do you sense excitement, nerves, or a mix of both? So I'm not in the locker room, so I don't know, but I did see Will Kunkel with Fox. He basically reported that the vibes are high, like there's infectious, enthusiastic energy. It's like a renewed life, postseason life. So they seem to be good. Texan says, what happened to the YouTube stream? My Instagram right now, there's no audio on Instagram. If anyone else can hear me on Instagram, just let me know. I think everyone else can hear me. If someone can just say you can hear me, I think I can be heard. I got the mic on, but maybe Instagram isn't working the way we want. But let's see what else we got. We got product of the H on TikTok. Appreciate you, bro. He says LFG H-Town. That's right. Thanks for your support, brother. And we got a couple others on TikTok. Someone says, I bet 5,000 for the Texans to win. Love it, dude. Money line or spread. I think we'll win both, obviously. Mario Romero says, I think we need to focus on the run game. I'm having to use an iPad for the comments on TikTok, so let me try and move this over here a little bit so I don't have to turn my head. Let's see if that'll work. It's actually my daughter's iPad. It's a pink iPad. It's a football one, though. Let's see if I can get this set up the right way. Maybe I'll just put it right here. But yeah, I finally got, so I'm using a new service called Restream, and I like it because I can go live with TikTok before, like, these multi-streaming services like StreamYard. I guess TikTok is like protective. They want you to only go live through their platform. But with this one, you can also go live on TikTok. So I like that. That's good because I haven't been able to interact with the TikTok crowd that much. So I'm excited about it. But yeah, let's see back over here on IG. We got Texan Fan 81. To me, they are more focused and excited. Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see that. T Brass says Mixon, defense, and serviceable. CJ game and serviceable CJ, game over. I agree. Those are all big keys. I was confirmed that you can hear. Appreciate it. Thanks, Texan, for letting me know. That fidget boy on IG says, "Do you think we will re-sign Diggs next year, or do you think the team will try and move to a different direction?" It's hard to tell, man. I mean, I would love to have him back, but my hunch is the money won't work. We already owe him X amount of millions in dead cap next year, and then to give him another contract to pay him even more, I doubt he would take a pay cut. He's coming off an ACL. He's older. I would love to have him back because he's that veteran presence, savvy route runner. But um, I would almost prefer us. I mean, before Diggs was great because Nico was still a little bit younger, and now Nico has another year under his belt of being like that number one alpha receiver. So like I think we have that veteran presence now. And so I would much rather go draft for another receiver. But I mean, I would love Diggs, but I feel like there's a lot. He's a slot receiver. I feel like there's a lot of good talent at the slot in the draft for sure. Texans fan 81 says, "To me, if they execute the run and pressure Herbert, they'll win easily." I mean, I agree 1,000%. Like, I'll dive into it, but like those are two of my biggest keys. And so after this show tonight, obviously, I will post it on podcasts, Apple, Spotify. If you aren't able to listen to the whole thing, I'll load it up tonight, be ready in the morning. And I'm also going to write an article probably tomorrow morning, kind of going over a lot of the stuff that we'll cover, but basically a preview for the game. I've been going crazy this week with playoffs. Like normally, like I go pretty hard as far as like clips and looking into stuff, but like I just like can't wait for this game to happen. I've looked at all kind of stuff, and the more stuff I look at, the more confident I am in the Texans and their ability to win this game. Let me get to a couple on TikTok before I get backlogged here. We have Banana King, always brother, and we like it that way. Mario Romero says, "Keep DP confidence level high." Yeah, that was nice to get DP involved like that. And it's a good reminder that like he's still got the ability. It's just a matter of opportunity, one, and three is good blocking, which the O line I thought did great. But I mean, I looked at DP's stats earlier. Like he had like almost doubled his carries and yards in one game. So like he didn't have a lot of production, but he didn't even play a lot this year. He was hurt, and then Mixon's a bell cow. So someone says, I'm not even going to try and pronounce that name, but someone says, where'd it go? Okay. That's just cool, man. TikTok's going off. He says, I think Deontay Johnson will have 5 catches for 60 yards. Man, I could see it, man. I would love that. And something too about Deontay Johnson is like I didn't realize it until the Titans game, but like he can return punts. Like we lost Tank in the punt return too. That's something where it doesn't matter what team you're on, you're plug and play. Like you got the ability to return a punt, just catch it and run. Banana King says H is up. Mario says Joe Mix and DP on point. Man, we are dangerous. Facts. That's probably my biggest key. I guess boring on both sides, but run game on both sides. So the Chargers, again, we'll dive into it. They run a lot of split safety looks, and a lot of disguise coverages, a lot of zone coverage, and a part of that means that you're going to have to run the ball. It's the same thing that we've seen all year: 2 high safety shells, where basically defenses are taking away the deep shot, forcing you to hit underneath or run the ball, and it's been tough for us because we can't run. Then we get stuck in 3rd and long, and then CJ's having to try and force it long with no protection. So running the ball will be key, and I think that we'll be able to do it. I'm optimistic about the interior O line. I'll just talk about that real quick. I had made a post. There's some clips, D'Amico, Nick talking about it, but our interior O line, obviously Titus Howard's been at left guard. And he's been playing great. That's what I vouched for from the beginning was LT at left tackle, Titus at left guard, Patterson at center, and Mason at right guard, who's now hurt, which is now Scruggs, which I like even better. And then Fisher at right tackle. Fisher's playing good, played a great game. D'Amico talked about him, and he said that he realized that he's got a nastiness to his game, finishing runs, finishing blocks, stuff that we haven't really seen a lot of this year. So that's awesome to see and hear from D'Amico. Like I said, Titus has been playing great. Everyone just assumed he was bad because the year before, supposedly he was terrible. I didn't think he was that bad. My logic for that lineup for the O-line was that was the closest iteration of the O-line we had last year. Only difference was George Fant at right tackle over Fisher. And to me, it made sense to go back to what it was. And even if Titus was, even if we lost a little bit at right tackle because Titus was playing good at right tackle, we still improved at left guard. So the overall net benefit was greater. And that's turned out to be the case. So yeah, I'm optimistic. I mean, that was against a Titans awesome interior O lines, D line. So our interior O line's been the biggest issue on our whole team, and they did great. I think we give up one sack, maybe. We'll check it here in a minute. But the point is, though, I've made that point, and then people are like, "Oh, well, it's against the Titans; they're tanking." But I mean, our guys, all of our interior guys between Titus, Patterson, and Scruggs, they all played 45 to 60 snaps, and then Simmons and Sweat, the two interior D linemen, they all played 40 to 50 snaps as well. So I mean, that was good on good. Whether a team is tanking or not, I mean, a player doesn't go in the game just because the team is tanking and not try. So I mean, yeah, we can't like overly get excited about it and expect that to be, projected, but we can also say like, hey, that was a good sign to see. So, and again, Fisher, he played against starters as well. Marcus says, "What's up, bro?" on TikTok. What up, brother? Sound like a sketch on that. BSO Homer. Let's go Texans. Don't hit me says, "What you think we should spend on our first round pick on?" I haven't thought too much about it. Obviously, depends on how free agency shakes out first, but we got a lot of needs. I would put needs as interior O line number one. I would put wide receiver number two. And then I would put tight end up there, safety up there. So it just depends. I could see a guard, I could see a receiver, I could see. I haven't looked too much into it. Product of the H says first drive against the Titans set the tone for the postseason. He says that I think it really helped the vibes through after those rough losses. Yeah, so I mean, you couldn't have asked for a better outcome in that Titans game. Like that was exactly if you could have thought of a perfect scenario was ones go out there, CJ Stroud's 6 for 6, Joe Mixon gets 1,000 yards rushing on the year, Nico gets 1,000 yards receiving on the year. We run the ball well, O line blocks well in the run and the pass, and we score a touchdown. Like even when we got down there, we had that delay of game, which was kind of BS, where they didn't reset the clock, but we overcame it and we still scored. So I mean, that was very promising. All you need to do is do that. Just a reminder it's like when you're playing basketball, just like shooting around your backyard, you never leave on a miss. Like you want to like the touchdown was you left on a make. So you left with like good vibes. And so that's going to carry over. I think that was better than to continue to go out there and then maybe the next drive sucks and you leave with a bad taste in your mouth. Instead, you like leave on a high and now we're good. And yeah, hopefully the O-line keeps it up. Glenn says Texans all day. Diggs needs to go. Marcus says that chemistry, though, with a good O-line around CJ, come on. Yeah, I mean, all he needs is confidence in that pocket, dude. Greek guy, Houston takeover. That's right, baby. Product of the H, Harris, Aziz, and Toa Toa about to eat. Dude, I can't wait to watch that. I'll get to that in a minute. Man, I wish I could read faster. There's so many comments. I love this. The new TikTok mix is making this pop off. Homer says Till's got to not get Tunsil has to not get false starts. Yep, that can't happen. Chris says hi, what up, brother? And Tasia throws up the H. Houston says if the Texans win against the Chargers, the swag and hype will return around Houston. I agree, and I think we will. And I understand people who are concerned. I mean, the season has kind of been up and down. Chris says, why is people talking down about our team? Man, people will just always hate on Houston, bro. And Tasia says, O-line going to pull through. I think they can too. Banana says, we ain't perfect, but we have to come to adjust to our issues. Agreed. Homer says they need to stop sleeping on us. Facts. And Atasia, this will be CJ's best game so far. Everyone's sleeping on us. Yeah, man. Like, even as a fan, like, I watched that Titans game. Like, it just takes you back to the CJ that we know and love, and it gets you pumped up for it. So, I need to catch up on some of these comments on the main. We got, let's see. I'll put on the big screen. Rye guy says it feels as if the same story year in, year out with national media might stay that way until this team wins a divisional round game. Yeah, I mean, like at first, like you hear Rex Ryan, calling us a bye week, and then Ian Rappaport he said we can win, but he says like this is a game basically no one thinks they can win, stuff like that. But it's fun for us to rally around, and like it does piss you off, but it's also like I kind of like it this way, um, kind of going under the radar. Like if you consider like before the year we were like overhyped, everyone thought we were better than what we were, and now it's been like it's almost like the stock market. It's like a over adjustment. Like everyone freaked out, everyone put too much stake into us included, and then now the rest of the public has put way too much, way less stake in us, uh, fans included. But really, it's like we're right here. We've been here the whole time, and now, but people think we're here. It's like, nah, like we're still like a decent team. Like we still won our division. They're talking about the Chargers like they're the freaking Chiefs. I mean, they talk about strength of schedule. They have a worse strength of schedule. We'll go through that. So it's like they like look at us in a certain lens, but then don't do the same thing with the Chargers. Like I don't know why. Is what it is, but like I said, we'll take it. Texicano says, I just hope we get to see that wild card CJ from last year. Facts. I think it was I forget retro. What's his name? One of the guys on Twitter posted that highlight video. I watched that and I got goosebumps, man. I hope we see that too. Mo Heavy says we can beat anyone if we play perfect. Facts. Any given Sunday, baby, or Saturday. Rye guy. Dobbins has been averaging like 3.5 per carry this second half of the season. If the D can keep that going, it'll make it easier for Sting, Bullock, and Locksmith to do their thing. Yeah, and Bullock and Dobbins and Gus Edwards are both limited in practice today with an ankle injury. And yeah, I agree. I mean, he hasn't been super duper impressive. Let's see. Sideline Sarah. Shout out Sideline Sarah. If y'all don't follow her, y'all should. She posts a lot of good content. Keep up the good work. She says, excited for the game this weekend. Yes, ma'am. I can't wait. Mo Heavy. What's crazy is that we've had the O-line the whole year for the most part. Yeah, and we'll see it here when we go through these stats on next gen. We've had like some of the highest combinations, but like the fewest different players. It's kind of been just the same pieces moving around. And we got Brandon. Shout out Brandon. I heard Vikings head coach KOC hands out lollipops after every win. He says, "Here you go, KOC suckers." That's crazy. I don't know if that's a joke or that's true, but it's wild either way. Let me check over on IG, make sure we're good. Luke says, let me scroll up a little bit. And then Texans fan is on there. Okay. And then we got Texans fan says, I believe if the rumors are true, Garrett Wilson would be a great addition than Diggs. Yeah, I think Garrett Wilson would be. My only concern is, does it make sense? We would have to assume his contract. So one, you would have to give up a lot of draft capital. I think it would take at least a first round pick and a player or another pick. And then on top of that, I believe I don't know what okay. So he's on his rookie deal and I think he has 2 years left, but basically he would come due for his extension and he would probably want around 30 million a year. And so basically, is it worth trading all that draft capital for a year to 2 years of a player and then have to sign him when you also have to sign CJ, have to sign Will, have to sign Stingley? It's like, I prefer going younger and getting a rookie and getting a cheap contract, or just, I mean, we got to prioritize the O-line. I think too many teams get caught up in skill players and you put your money there. I guess I would say we're guilty, but we put money in our O-line. They just didn't work out. But, with a quarterback like CJ or any of these other quarterbacks of his caliber, if they have a good enough O-line and run game, they can make, lesser than receivers look like world beaters. We saw it in CJ's rookie year. All these receivers were supposed to be so bad. And, obviously they were better than we thought. But part of that was CJ elevated their game as well. So, I would much rather, I wouldn't want to invest too much in free agency or trading as far as a receiver. I would prefer the draft. And then we got Luke says, would love to see OSU Stroud and Wilson connection in A-Town. I mean, yeah, it would be dope, dude. I would love it too. I hope it would make sense. And then he says, Texans O-line has been pretty rough this season. You think they'll be able to hold up against Joey Bosa and Chargers pass rush? Yeah, I mean, so I think we match up well against the Chargers. So our strength on the O line is our tackles. Well, I guess Fisher is the only concern now, but he's done pretty good. But like LT, like that left side's on lock. So whether it's Mac or Bosa, like forget about it. Like you're out of the game. So that's the nice thing about LT. You might get some false starts. The run blocking might not be great, but pass pro, like he'll shut down whoever it is. And so their interior isn't that great, which our interior isn't that great. So that's good. Like, some teams you play, their edges suck and their interior is good. That's a bad matchup for us, but it's the opposite. So I think it matches up well for us. Live like you're dying, great dude. He says, let's focus on this year. I agree. I agree. Uh, Antho says, weird feeling. Texans going to dominate. I agree, bro. And then Live Like You're Dying says, what do you think is the best way to win this game? Yeah, so like I said, it's going to be, defensively stop the run for them. If they're, Herbert's had this crazy year as far as I think it's like the second best as far as like the amount of attempts and touchdowns he's had to interception ratio. But a lot of it is, I think it's very similar to what's happened with Josh Allen, who's also having a better year, limiting turnovers. Is basically the OCs have taken a lot off their plate, whereas before they were both asked to be like Superman and make all these plays. But now they got a run game. They basically run the ball, run the ball, run the ball, and then play action pass. And when you do pass, you got great protection. And then you're not asked to make some hero play. It's not like, it's drawn up, schemed up plays. A lot of his production is off play action pass. So I forgot where I was going with that for a second. Yeah, so basically, he succeeds in the pass because the run game works. If we shut down the run and now they're stuck, like the Texans, we've had no run game and we're stuck in third and long all the time. If you put Justin Herbert in that same situation with our defense, which is now fully healthy, he will be exposed. And I suspect that's what's going to happen. And then Carlos says, Herbert scares me. G-Man hasn't thrown a pick since week 2. Yeah, so like I just pointed that out. I think a lot of that is another part of that too is like the way they play games. Jim Harbaugh is your prototypical old school coach. They run the ball a lot out of heavy sets, 12 and 21 personnel, 2 running backs, 2 tight ends, and they just like to play the slow, boring game where they just drain the clock, methodical drives, 3-4 yards at a time, nothing risky, not taking shots, and then defense is just like that. They're bend but don't break. They have safeties basically playing prevent. You can't take a big shot. They make you earn it. They make you play this boring game, and they try and keep the game close no matter what. So as a result of that, their schedule, some of the games that they've lost may look closer than what they are because it's just a tight game because they shorten the game. They don't really try to get into a knockout punch out knockdown fight. They just like to keep it slow, muddied, ugly game. But yeah, so like as a result of that, you have less possessions, you have less pass attempts, you have less risky situations. So of course his interceptions are down. Jason says, what is something they need to work on offense or defense to win against the Chargers? Yeah, so I mean something else. On the other side, offense, we need to be able to run the ball. Like I said, on their defense, they play prevent defense essentially, where they play 2 high safeties a lot, where they basically are daring you to run the ball. We'll see it on the stats here. They have like a lot of light boxes, again, daring you to run the ball. And then if you do try to pass, it's going to be in a not advantageous situation where you don't have numbers. So getting the run game going will be key. Zach is whack. Asked for a score prediction. I'll drop it later after we go through the NFL Pro here in a minute. Jason says, where are you going to be at on Saturday? You want to join us at a restaurant to watch? I appreciate the invite, but I will be in NRG. I was AD on the AFC South roundtable. Him and I were both at the game last year, not together, but he made me realize, he pointed out how loud it was last year and how much fun it was. I'm really hoping for that same vibe and atmosphere. I mean, it was like a damn party in there last year. The Don't Stop Believing song, everyone was singing that. I had a video of it. That was like my first viral moment. Even the Texans used that video like on their ads to sell season tickets in the off season. Like I kept seeing it on my Instagram pop up. But I said it was like it's basically like heaven on earth, bro. Like it was just like awesome. And so I'm hoping for that same atmosphere, same result. Like I could see it getting to that point, man. Live Like You're Dying says we have to sign Will and CJ. We trust Casario from here on out. Facts, I agree. Tex Sin says Stressan's cracked the code. Let's go, baby. Uh, all right, all good on IG. Yeah, so this is fun. I'm like, I got I got my restream, which has got Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube right here. I got my TikTok. I got my Instagram. So it's like got a lot going on, but I like it, man. This is what I enjoy about what I've done is interacting too. And so I'm most active on Twitter. If you ever like want to like talk ball, and I try to respond to like any question that like asks a question, or any comment that asks a question. I wish I could interact with every one of y'all all the time, but I try to, but it's tough. So yeah, like I wish I was able to spend more time on Facebook and Instagram as far as commenting. But anyhow, let's see what we missed over here. Let's see, Brandon. He says, Brandon says, you think Casario would do a 5-year contract with anyone or stick with the 3-year? With CJ Stroud, yeah. Derek Stingley, maybe. I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, I don't think he's had good enough candidates to do a 5-year. I know he has the 2-year special that we all joke about. And part of that could have been, he knew early on we were still building a team and didn't want to get tied into any contracts and wanted to have flexibility. But I would not be surprised. I mean, you could see CJ Stroud, you could see Will Anderson Jr., you could see Derek Stingley. These are all young guys that you drafted that fit the culture and like would be cornerstones of this franchise. I think that would be awesome and very smart for those 3 guys for sure. Then we got Alberto Javier on Facebook. Appreciate you tuning in, bro. No, not worth. Prefer what you're saying. Younger receiver from draft. I agree. And then we got Rod Cass says, I don't get the disrespect. We are getting bye week my ass. Hashtag Texan Swarm. For real, man. I mean, they just love to hate us for whatever reason. That's why I say Houston versus everybody, bro. CCCC says, Herbert be exposed. LOL. You know he's been an absolute beast for 5 years. He has multiple NFL historic records for all QBs for first 5 years, right? Get out of here, loser. He's gonna get exposed, dude. I mean, look at Jared Goff. He was an MVP candidate. He threw more picks than he had all year in one game. He threw 5 picks. Josh Allen, MVP frontrunner. We exposed him. He was 9 for 30. Like, get out of here, dude. Like, I'm usually pretty cordial with fans, but like when people try to do that, after CJ's rookie year, like all these Chargers fans would just unprovoked come after me and like try to argue with me about Herbert over CJ. And they got this hard on for that. So you forget about that element of this game. It's the legacy of Stroud versus Herbert. And some of these Herbert stands, like most Charger fans that I've interacted with this week have been awesome. Like on my page, like they're all cool. But like I have ran into like Herbert stands who are just like annoying as hell. That guy seems like one of them. Yeah, dude, I think he could really get exposed. I mean, yes, he's playing great ball. I agree. He's a great quarterback. But a lot of it is the same as Josh Allen. It is the way the offense is. Like they're limiting everything for him. They're making it super conservative, and he's doing good within that. But I mean, you saw how he was before. I mean, yeah, he had yards, but he also had turnovers and sacks and all that stuff. So he says CJ is mid at best. Okay, bro. Yeah, he's having a down year, but I think CJ in the same role as the Chargers would be doing just as good, if not better. But yeah, so I mean, a reason why I'm super confident about this game is like we forget D'Amico Ryans is an elite defensive game planner. He is an elite defensive game planner, man. I mean, like I mentioned, like what he did to Josh Allen, what he did to Jared Goff, what he did to Jordan Love. The only one was Lamar Jackson that really tore us up this year. And I honestly think that 1, it was short week, so you didn't have a lot of time to prepare. And 2, the game didn't mean much. And 3, there was a chance we could see them again in the playoffs. So why show them your best hand when you could see them again? And, a point to drive home that point of, not showing your best hand was the Browns. Last year, they played us 2-3 weeks before the season ended, and they beat our ass at home. And Amari Cooper tore us up. And every one of us was like, "Oh, why didn't you shadow Amari Cooper with Derek Stingley?" And he's like, "Oh, we don't shadow, we don't do that." And then, sure enough, you play them in the playoffs, and what happens? Derek Stingley shadows Amari Cooper, and he shuts his ass down. So it's like that is an example of him not emptying the bag in the regular season, but then postseason in a big game, he's shown he can come up with an elite game plan. Like we had what, 2 pick sixes, I believe. I mean, the defense like was balling, dude. So I could see something like that for sure. And then we got, let's see, Angels Hoodie says, CCC, get out of here, little bro. Y'all are losing. Your season's over. Let him know, Angel. I'm just going to ignore him. I mean, it's fine. No, you can still interact. It's all good. I'm not. Rodcast, CJ is 23 going into his third playoff game. That's crazy. Yeah, I saw that graphic of like all the playoff quarterbacks, and he's the youngest, which is crazy considering that there's rookies. Let's see, CCC playing in the worst division. Come on, man. But yeah, like these Charger fans, dude, like it's so funny that like, the Texans get criticized for our easy schedule. And then you look at their schedule, like their schedule's dog shit too. I mean, let's just pull it up. Like, fuck that, dude. Let's go through the schedule and we'll go pick apart y'all's schedule and show that, what y'all are saying is all bullshit. And I'll go through PFF too and show the strength of schedule is not what you think it is. Y'all's strength of schedule was worse than ours. It was 27th and ours was 20th. So like y'all talking all this shit like y'all beat all these good teams and we're bad against winning teams. So are y'all. We're the same damn team. Y'all think y'all are like the fucking Chiefs or something. And again, like I said, like just because y'all lost by one score, you think you're really good. But yeah, it's because the way y'all play a game, y'all play a boring ass style of football where you just run the shit out of the ball, drain the clock, and hope that you can, claw your way back in. Like y'all like don't play to win, y'all play not to lose. Like, come on, bro. Uh, yeah, let me pull up this. Let's pull up this schedule for the Chargers here, so we can expose this clown. Chargers. All right. So schedule. Yeah. So I mean, yes, they play in the AFC West, but Denver, like that's 2 of their wins is. Oh yeah, Denver's so good. I mean, come on, dude. Yeah, Denver's pretty good, but I mean, they're not great. Beat the Raiders twice to start and end the year. And there's about how hot they are going into the year. They beat Denver, New England, Vegas. Denver, New England, Vegas are the 3 teams they beat to finish the year. And they're acting like they're on some hot streak. Like, get out of here, dude. But yeah, they beat the Raiders, the Panthers early in the year. They were putrid. Lost to the Steelers, lost to the Chiefs, beat the Broncos by 1 score, lost to the Cardinals, beat the Saints. They probably played, I don't even know who they played in that game. Probably, a Uber driver for a quarterback. They beat Cleveland, tanking, Tennessee, tanking. That another great win of them. The Bengals were not nearly as good as they indicated. Got beat by the Ravens again. They probably got dominated this game, but the box score is closer because they play a boring ass style of football. They beat Atlanta. Okay. They lost to the Chiefs again. They got waxed by the Bucks 40-17. Yeah, I mean, come on, dude. Like, get out of here with that crap. That's enough arguing with him, but that's just like, I guess that's, that's my argument back, kind of how, let me see if I get my face back on here. Let's see. There we go. I mean, kind of how we're talking about like the national media. It's like the same logic right there, but sorry, TikTok, I'm coming back to you. Yoshi says, I can't believe people are counting us out. Ayush says, do you think Nico will have over 80 yards? Yes, I think he will eat. I will show you why in a second when we go over the next gen stuff. Chris, why are people talking down about us? Because they're haters. Houston Texans win 2 games in the playoffs. Everything is forgiven. Facts. So we got a chance to right the ship, so I'm optimistic. Yoshi, we literally not even a full healthy team right now. Yep. I mean, we're missing 2 starting receivers and Diggs and Dell. We're missing Petrie and Ward. But I will say the defense, the front 7 is the healthiest it has been all year. First and second string. We got guys like Foley Fatukasi coming back. That's a very underrated addition. He is a beast at stopping the run. Obviously, Aziz and Christian Harris, Henry To'oTo'o. But yeah, we'll run through it too. So as I mentioned earlier, the Chargers will run a lot of heavy personnel. And so that is actually good because right now we just had Jalen Petrie go down, and then Jimmy Ward took over, and then he went down for the nickel, star slash linebacker role. And, that would be a potential tough spot for us. So then you'd either have Miles Bryant in the nickel, or you would have to put Kamari in the nickel, which means Okuda would play cornerback too. But you only run nickel if they have three receiver sets. And so if they don't go three receiver sets, if they go two receiver sets, with this two running back, two tight end, that's two wide receiver sets, that allows us to now go 4-3, four down linemen, three linebackers. And so now you got Aziz, Harris, and Henry. And you would probably want to put Harris at the outside backer in case he has to cover a tight end or if someone motions in because of his speed. So I think we match up well. Like given, the fact that we have, big injuries to our nickel star role, this allows us to not be exposed in that situation to kind of mix pieces around, which in the Chiefs game, once Jimmy Ward went down, the game was over because we had to move Kamari to the slot, who did great in the slot. He locked it down, but then now you had Okuda on the outside who was getting picked on. So there's this trickle down effect from shuffling around. Now we can prevent that. If they go a lot of 12 personnel, you just put Stingley on Ladd, or you can just play it true up. You got Stingley or Lasseter on Ladd, and then after that, you got Quentin Johnson or Joshua Palmer, both of which who did not practice today. They probably will play, but I'm not scared of either of those guys. So Lee Lutz says Texans are going to beat the Chargers. Banana King Stover has been doing good. He's made a couple of mistakes, but the kid improves every game. I agree. And one thing I like about Stover is when he's more so in that H back role, and when they motion him or pull him on counters or powers, I feel like or whams. I feel like he does better when he's got momentum and like a full head of steam and he just runs into a guy, as opposed to when he's in the dirt as a tight end, like in line with his hand down. I feel like he's not as good blocking like that. I feel like he's a great blocker when he has a full head of steam. And so we've been seeing more of that. Product of the H, Titus at guard is where it's at with his O-line. Facts. Ryan, I hate that we missing Diggs, Dell, Petrie, and Ward. Yeah, it's tough, man. We could use them, but it is what it is. And I still feel as good as we can. Os Crunk says, I'm an Eagles fan, but hopefully Texans win. Appreciate you, bro. Ray says, you're the man. Thank you. Appreciate you. Product of the H says their schedule was a cupcake. I agree. It's tough, man. I need I wish they would allow me to put the TikTok comments on here, man. It's tough to get to all of them. Let me try to get caught back up. Marcus says, bless and appreciate you. CJ says, hey, Brew, Texans fan here. CJ Stroud, yes, sir. And then, okay, I'm getting caught back up. So we got Houston ED80 says Texans need to go out and prove it. I agree. And then who else we got? Derek Stout. Only worry is our offense against their defense. Hopefully they have something special planned. I agree. I mean, call me dumb, but I'm optimistic based off the O-line. We talked about that, how they played against the Titans. I just saw a funny my buddy Steve said on Instagram, holy shit, I thought you were black. That was pretty funny. It's about a month ago when I was at one of the games and Will Anderson made a play and I was wearing a shirt. It says, if you ain't with Houston, fuck you, whatever. And so I posted it, and I guess a lot of people follow me, only interact with me on game day. And one guy made a comment and he said, not going to lie, fam, I thought she was black. And like that comment had like almost 1,000 likes, and there was like a thread, everyone like saying the same thing. It was pretty funny. But yeah, so he's making a joke off of that. And then anyways, let me get back on track here. I was talking about the offense, and then, yeah, so I'm optimistic about the O-line, the pass pro. I like that we had that drive, that we finished on a good note, good taste in our mouth, finishing on a make, not a miss. And then I will also say, too, from what I watched, Bobby was calling a lot of good plays on that one drive, small sample size, but we had a jet touch pass, which is essentially a reverse to Nico, which I haven't seen much of that this year. And he had a rush for 10, 12 yards. So we found a way to put the ball in our best playmaker's hand early. Later, we motioned him to the slot and had him on a mismatch where he was on a linebacker. That same play, he had a quick out, and they had a nickel blitz, which has terrorized us all year. And we hit the hot route against a nickel blitz. So that was awesome to see. And, he was just doing things, motioning guys. CJ was playing great. There was a play where mixing motion from the left of CJ to the right of CJ. The backer followed him. He recognized it was man. He canned, so he went to the man beater play. He has Nico backside on one, cover one. He ran a go route. CJ looked at the safety to hold him off, went to go throw it, saw the corner was over the top, threw a back shoulder fade. Nico went up and caught it, sideline catch. Like, it was just so many good things, like great execution. Uh, it was just awesome. So, like, just watching that one drive, I was like, okay, like I feel like they're back. And then I also want to say too, like, hopefully there's part of Bobby has been holding stuff back and opens up the playbook. I mean, I feel like he had some good play calls in that Browns game last year, so I feel like that was kind of the case. I don't know. I feel like the offense can do enough. I feel like they don't have to do a lot, but I feel like they can and potentially will. So I'm excited about it, man. Cal says, "You hear anything about CJ being less focused on football this year?" No, I don't. I don't buy into that. I think it's just his O line, sophomore slump to an extent where they have more film on you. But I would say it's O line, Slowick having the sophomore slump, his play calls not adapting because defenses basically gave the playbook. Week one, the Colts ran a bunch of stunts, killed us. Every team saw that, started doing it. Week 3 or 4, we played the Vikings. They had the simulated pressures where they mugged the line of scrimmage with 7, 8, 9, 10 guys, and then drop back and rush guys and don't rush guys, and then that killed us. And so everyone started running that stuff too. So, but yeah, so another reason why the run needs to work is that's what the Chargers are going to do. They're going to probably do that, mug the line of scrimmage, drop guys out, try to confuse us, and then rush the quarterback with only 4. So that's why you need to run the ball to kind of prevent them from doing that. And then if we do throw the ball early on, and again, we'll get to it, it'll make sense here in a minute, but they run a lot of cover 4, basically where they're off. It's kind of like prevent to an extent. So you can't throw any intermediate to deep passing on that necessarily, but you need to throw quick game, hitches, slants, quick outs from the slot or outside. So quick game needs to be a focus for us. And that's something that I really liked from oh man, I don't know what's going on my phone. Got a bunch of notifications going on. Anyhow, I was talking about the quick game. Yeah, so that's something I've been talking about with Slowick is pass to open the run, and he's done that lately. I don't even look at the Ravens game. Like, I just chalk it up to whatever. Like we said earlier, we had a blowout to the Browns. You can have a blowout late and still be fine. I don't look into it because injuries. We had Tank and Ward, Aziz out, but those injuries had just happened. You had 2-3 days to recover from it, not only to game plan, but to mentally get over it. And again, it wasn't like the game. I mean, it was important, but like it wasn't like a do or die. Anyways, my point is I lost my train of thought. I was talking about what was I talking about? Anyways, that's crazy. I'm talking about too much stuff at once, but no, I feel confident in so I was talking about the pass to open the run. So I feel like Bobby has passed to open the run a lot lately, and it started with the Jacksonville game, saw it in the Miami game, Ravens game again. Like, sometimes game script changes it, but basically he comes out with tempo, spreading it out a little bit, throwing quick games, slants, outs, whatever, and then that can open up the run. So that's another thing we can do in this game as well. And then H says Lassiter and Stingley. I lost the comment. Sorry. Yeah, I'm kind of catching up. They're talking about the Cardinals. That was a big hoorah victory for the Chargers fans. And yeah, I'm going to miss some of those comments on TikTok. Sorry, I'll try to get the new ones. Let me go back. I just swiped off of that. But let me see here. Yeah, Steve, you're hilarious, bro. Thanks for tuning in. Let me check over here real quick. Brandon says, you know what's boring when your star edge goes from having 17 sacks one year to only six the next year? Is that Bosa? I'm sure that's why that fan is mad. Coop 3X says, we are going out there and giving them BTA. I agree, man. I feel good about it. And then Angel says they played so many horrible teams, the Chargers this season. And Angel also says Houston played all the best teams this season. They had a hard schedule and we still made the playoffs and won our division. Sosa says Herbert is the same guy who sold a 27-7 lead. Fact. So he's 0-1 in the playoffs, and he had that historic loss to the Jaguars. But yeah, I mean, it's just it's similar to Josh Allen. Like Josh Allen, I think is better, obviously, but they just changed their offense. Like they play a dumbed down offense. They don't do much. So like, of course, it makes you look good. Tyler Brooks on Facebook. Didn't realize I didn't follow you on here, big dog. It's Banana King from TikTok. Hey, appreciate you, bro. Yeah, so I'm trying to get everything going. Like Facebook, I just started getting going lately, but if y'all don't, like if y'all could, I would appreciate it. Like follow me on all platforms. Even if you don't use them, it would just help me out. But basically on Twitter and TikTok and YouTube, I'm at Texans Commenter. And then on Instagram and Facebook, I'm at Houston Stressans. If you could do that, and then I could ask you one more favor. I'll just pull it up right now. Let me go to share screen, and I'll show you all my site. If y'all could, if y'all don't mind, subscribe to my free newsletter. That would be appreciated. Let me pull it up here. But yeah, it's totally free. I usually do it about once a week. Sometimes I don't get to it because life busy, but that would be appreciated. I write articles on here. I include those in the newsletter, but the button's right here at the top. It'll be like similar to that on mobile. Sometimes I'll do two. I sent one today, like a reminder for the show, and then I'm gonna do one probably tomorrow or Friday where I'm gonna write an article, a preview for the game, and just include a bunch of like clips and shirts and videos and all kind of good stuff just to get you caught up. And another step further, if you want, you can create a profile. You can log in. This is something I have now, but I'll probably start to push more in the off season. I don't have the time to do it now to really dedicate time to growing it, but like I have a good big vision idea for this part is basically to grow the site. Um, it's basically like a Discord. So I just signed in. So now I click on that button, and you can have a profile. So at the very simplest form, you can like create your own profile. If you're a content creator, this can replace like a link tree. You can have all your stuff here. You can have your TikTok, X, YouTube, and then you have a link right here. I think I'll have it too to where you can like customize your link. So it could be houstonstressons.com/ you know, banana, banana king. You could have it there. And then that way, instead of paying $10 up there, whatever it is for, uh, Linktree or whatever other service, you just use this for free. And then, you can upload all your own stuff. Also, too, if anybody ever wants to write blogs or articles, you're more than willing to hit me up and I'll work it out to where you can just start doing on here. It's good practice and post it and share it with whoever. But yeah, on the Discord, you can click there. There's a group, and like the idea is that like everyone can make a profile in here, and we can have like a forum or a Discord. And I haven't been as active on here, but it's pretty cool. Like you can do it pretty advanced stuff like GIFs and share photos, videos, all that stuff. So that's a feature on there. But while I'm here too, obviously the store. I've got a lot of other stuff like I haven't released yet. Let me put my face on here. My bad. Or it's already on there. Let's see. Yeah, that's good. It's like it just sucks because the season hasn't gone how we thought, and it's like it's hard to release a shirt when the vibes are low. People just like kind of shit on it, but I got the anything you want on here. I can customize it. Like if you want this shirt on a hoodie, tell me. I just haven't done it because I don't want to put too much stuff on here. But yeah, I got the Rocket shirt. I got the classic 713 H Town shirt, even though Dell and Diggs are hurt. I got this the new Houston versus everybody. I got it on pretty much everything: shirts, hats, hoodies, just like anything else you can do. But I like this "If They Ain't With Houston, Fuck 'Em" shirt by Will Anderson Jr. Free Aziz. Shout out Aziz. Came to the watch party. He's a great guy. This is the shirt I'm wearing right now. Houston versus everybody. Let me see. I need to put down this comment. Yeah, this Houston. Come on, pressing the wrong buttons. Houston versus everybody. I don't even see it. CJ Stroud Hope shirt. So I got some. I have a Derek Stingley design. I have a Kamari and Bullock. It's called Hawk and Lock. I got that one. I haven't released. I have a Nico shirt. I haven't released. It's just I try to do it when times are high, but I'm also just too busy. But yeah, I got all kind of stuff on here. The Will Anderson Jr. and Daniil Hunter, the Step Brothers one. I like that one. But yeah, feel free to check that out. It takes 7 to 10 business days for it to be made and to ship. And then I also have the Texans media page. So I built this out and I want to revisit this later too when I have time. But if any of y'all are ever looking for content or content creators, I put like over 100 people on here manually and they got all their stuff. But let's see. Let me just go to like Big Sarge is right here and it should have like all of his stuff. But I want to make this to where it can be like a little personal website too. And so I'll continue to work on that, but feel free to check it out. And if, anybody can add their info if you want. If you don't see your name, just click this update your link, add or update your links right here. And then the last thing on the site is this video player. I think this is the coolest function. Well, I guess I had the schedule too, but this is probably the most useful. I basically get a bunch of playlists and, have videos from YouTube. I have like a Houston Stressans playlist, like all my stuff. I got a national media playlist, basically any national media stuff on the Texans. Press conferences are on there. I got stuff by player, CJ, Joe, Tank, etc. So stuff like that. And then the schedule's another way just to look at the schedule and click on each game. You can see a recap and a preview. Let's see. I don't know if I've done a preview yet for the Chargers game. But yeah, I mean, I got to upload the Chargers. But anyhow, that's enough of that. I will start on this part here in just a second. Let me catch up on some comments. Let's see what we got going. Let me catch up on, let's see, where should I go? Over here. Brandon says, what you got, B? Says, personal opinion, who do you think are the best 5 at O-line starting lineup? I think the 5 we ran out there against the Titans, man. Shaq Mason being hurt might be a blessing in disguise. That's been like the craziest thing to me is, Shaq Mason has always been like this old reliable, steady Eddie veteran. His floor is pretty high. And then, maybe his ceiling wasn't very high, but he was consistent. And I don't know if it's Father Time catching up to him or what, but yeah, I think it's LT at left tackle. I think it's Titus at left guard. It's Patterson at center. It's Juice at right guard, and it's Blake Fisher at right tackle. And if Shaq comes back, looks like he may not come back this week, but I would like to see Juice stay there. But you now always have the option if Juice struggles, you can insert Shaq back in. Coop says, okay, yeah, we're all good there. Let me see some TikTok ones. I just messed up and scrolled off of it. IU says I'm calling 350 yards and 3 touchdowns from CJ. Product of the H says tight ends do need more action. I agree. Mex Rose says got them confused. I'm not sure what that was. It's talking about the tight ends. And then Rose says Deontay is going to open things up for Nico. That's a good point, man. That is a great point. El Sicaro says going to be there at the wild card, brother. Me too. I will be there at the game as well. I can't wait. Tony, I agree with this comment right here. If we can establish a run game early on, we win. I agree 1,000%. Damien says, love the page, dude. All Houston love. Appreciate you, bro. Thanks for the support. IU says, I think Lassiter and Stingley are easily the best corner duo in the league. I agree, man. Like all their stats were crazy. But yeah, so let's see. I think we're good. Ernesto says, "What's got you worried and what's got you hopeful for the game?" Worried would be what? I'm good on defense. It would be offense. It would be, I guess, the O line going back to what it's been doing, and O line playing bad, and then CJ getting out of his game again. That would be my worry. My worry would be like the entire offense just shitting the bed. Run game stopped, so then now CJ has to throw. O line, Derwin James causing havoc as he's a very versatile player. Plays nickel, plays linebacker, plays safety, and he's good at all of it. So that would be my worry is, on offense, not picking up blitzes or, simulated pressure, zone blitzes. Uh, Easy says on Instagram, secondary is not as good. Also, you can run on Chargers. Yes, I mean, their run defense, I agree, man. Like, I'm not scared of their run defense. And, you know, our rushing offense has been so up and down, but the times that we've ran good, it's been against shitty run defenses or average. And so it's a good matchup for us, like in that regard. Uh, and then Jibbo the Kid says, "Hey man, why they acting like the Chargers, the Chiefs? We can definitely win, especially at home." Facts, man. I agree. It's crazy, dude. They just love to hate on us. Texans fan 81 question: how do you feel about this Saturday wildcard playoff game? I feel very confident. Um, but yeah, let's go into. Let me share my screen. I'm gonna go through this here. We'll start off with the PFF. We don't need to. We don't need to do the grade since that game was kind of whatever. We know who played good and who didn't. I mean, all the starters played pretty good. But let's see. Let's go to scores, NFL scores, and then we'll click on. This will be quick for PFF. They got a couple quick highlights that are pretty cool. Yeah, so the team metrics, power rank overall, they have the Chargers 9th, they have the Texans 13th, the Chargers defense 14th, the Texans defense 6th. So PFF says that their defense is not the elite defense we've heard about, but ours is. And then power rank on offense, they are 4th. I don't know if I agree with that. Power rank on offense for us, 19th. That's fair. I think we can play better than that. So that's promising. Strength of schedule played, 28th for the Chargers. Bottom quarter of the league, and we're 25th. I guess ours changed. It was 20th the other day. So, I mean, we knew that our strength of schedule wasn't the craziest, but they're acting like theirs isn't the same shit, and we're getting hit for that and they aren't. Like, how does that make sense? A couple things on here. Percent of plays that are run for them are 40%, and we're 36%. Pass are 59 for them, 63 for us. So, both pretty evenly balanced, very similar. I don't. There's EPA per play. There's EPA per run for them is minus 0.11, minus 0.2 for us, similar. And then EPA per pass for them is 0.13, and ours is 0.01. I mean, that sounds about right. And we got the spread. It says 2 now, so it must have went down. I guess it depends on what book you're at, but I saw it open at 3. I saw it go up to 3.5. Now I'm seeing 2.5 and 2. But yeah, one more feature on here we can look at is pretty cool. Is looking at the matchups on personnel. So this is a nickel package, basically 11 personnel on offense, three wide receivers. So then you bring in an extra cornerback to do that, which when we did 11 personnel against the Titans, I noticed that obviously Nico's the X receiver right here. But I did notice that Mechie was the Z and then Woods was the slot. If Deontay Johnson is up to speed, he should be the Z and Mechie should be the slot. What they come out with, I don't know, but that's what I would do if Deontay knew the playbook, and I suspect that's what might happen. Or they could kind of rotate him in here and there. But I mean, we mixed it up on that first drive. We ran 11 personnel. We ran 12 personnel, one running back, 2 tight ends. We even ran 13 personnel on one. We had Schultz, we had Irv Smith, and we had Cade Stover. We now got Keegan Quitiarno. I just butchered the hell out of that name. I don't even know why I try to say that the Q tight end. He's coming back, so we got some versatility there. But yeah, it shows you the matchups. Nico Collins, 91.6 grade on their corner. Fulton, who's a 71. Still on the other side's a 73. So Nico's going to feast. Derwin James is the 80 in the slot. That's going to be a tough matchup. But, I mean, it might be wise to go 11 personnel and kind of get James out of the mix. The only thing is that we run these condensed formations, and if you do that, he's going to still raise havoc off the edge. But yeah, Cleo Mack is their highest graded player on defense at 90. He's matched up with Tunsil. If he lines up at the right edge, I mean, I don't care how good you are, Tunsil will eliminate you. And then again, like it comes down to matchups. Like this is a good matchup to me. Our weakness on offense is interior O line, and you could say their weakness on defense might be their interior D line. So, like whereas we played teams like the Jets and the Titans that aren't good, but the matchup was bad because their interior D line was good and our interior O line was bad. It's all about matchups. So this is a good matchup for us. Yeah, I mean, they got. I'm trying to see what So this looks like a 4-2-5. It's nickel. Let's look at the flip side. So I feel good about that, which is the biggest concern is our offense. But let's look at our defense. Their receivers, Ladd McConkey. I don't know how I haven't talked about him yet. He's an absolute beast. I loved him coming out in the draft. I wanted us to draft him before I knew we got Diggs. I thought he would have been a perfect receiver for us. He's got a great skill set. He can play Z or slot. He's playing mostly slot for them. Hopefully our answer is to have a mixture of shadowing him with Stingley / Lassiter on him in the slot. But like I mentioned, they run a lot of heavy personnel, which we can go to. But in this diagram, it's 11 personnel, 3 wide receivers. So we would be they actually have our base as a 4-3 still. I mean, that could happen. But if they go 3 wide receivers, I would like to see Lassiter in the slot on McConkey and then bring in Okudah. I know you don't want to, have that, but I would rather have Lassiter covering McConkey with Okudah covering an outside receiver as opposed to Lassiter covering an outside receiver and then Harris or To'o covering McConkey in the slot. So that's kind of like your lesser of two evils. That's where I would go there. But yeah, again, matchups, like their tackles are great. So are ours. And these grades on the interior, they got Settle and Fadakasi as bad. That's bullshit. Like these guys are awesome. Like our interior defensive line, couple things. We have like a stable of them, so they rotate in and out. And then also our edges are so good that they create opportunities for them. Again, on defense or on offense, our weaknesses are interior line, but so is theirs. So that kind of like canceled out. But now on the flip side, on their offense, their interior O line is the weakness and their outside is the strength. And we're good all across. So that's a good matchup again. Feel good about that. And we can share the Next Gen Pro. Let me get this up, answer a couple more questions before we kind of dive back into it real quick. Let's see if we got any on IG. Vic says Texans going to beat Chargers. Slowick just needs to make adjustments. I agree. I think he will. Easy says, is Asante Samuel playing? I believe so. I didn't think I saw him on the injury report. And then Vic says Sting needs to cover that rookie. Yep, I agree. Any comments on here? Brandon, personal. Yeah, okay, I got to that. And then we got, let's see, on TikTok. Can Houston flip a switch? Rose says, but Houston can flip a switch and light up the scoreboard at any moment. Yeah, that's what Bobby said today too, is, we haven't really gotten hot this year as an offense. Like they kind of had like streaks last year. And like he said, they're just waiting to catch fire, have 2-3 good games in a row. And I definitely think that we can. And then Rose said, or Banana King says, we are the youngest team, so the NFL doesn't want to see us go further. Facts. And then Rose says, Johnson didn't look bad last game. He should be more up to speed Saturday. Yeah, I agree, and I hope so. But yeah, so on the preview here, there's a spread over unders 42.5. This is definitely going to be a low scoring game unless we get ahead early and it kind of waterfalls. But I mean, it's two defensive minded head coaches in Jim Harbaugh and D'Amico Ryans, and they're both conservative. They both want to win with their defense. They both want to run the ball. They don't want to take a lot of risk passing the ball. They want to play field position, time of possession, chew the clock up, punt the ball, this and that. So I mean, it might be a pretty boring game if it goes the way both coaches plan. And let's see here. We got some key advantages. On offense, the Chargers have the 11th ranked overall passing efficiency, but we have the 5th ranked defense. So we got a 2-star advantage there. And then on offense, the Chargers have the 15th ranked overall rushing efficiency, but we have the number 6 rank. So it's a 3-star advantage. So that bodes well for us. We got to stop the run for them. We have a better matchup. Pressure rate on offense, the Chargers are the 16th ranked. And then we are the number 2 ranked defense and pressure rate. So we got my light just fell down. We got a 4-star advantage on that. So that bodes well too. Give me 1 second to put this light up. Hold on 1 second. Sorry about that. Let's see. I must have not clamped it on or something. Or it just came undone. There it goes. One of these days I'll get like a legit studio, but until then, I'm going to have random stuff like that happen. Sorry, fellas. Yeah, so back to the key advantages or overview. This is actually the team overview. Texans offense and overall passing efficiency, number 22. Chargers, number 6. They got a 4-star advantage. This is a big key for us, and I like this. Offense overall rushing efficiency, we're number 20, but their defense is number 13. That's only a 1-star advantage. So on both sides of the ball, rushing the ball, which are the 2 biggest keys in my opinion in this game, they look pretty good for us. They have a slight advantage, but I feel like we're better than the 20th depending on the team we play. And then on offense, we are number 28th overall in pressure rate. Of course, we allow a lot of pressure, but they're 14th, so they got a 4-star advantage. Hopefully our O-line is continuing to improve with a new O-line, so maybe we're not as bad as the 28th anymore. Yeah, so that's part of it. Let me see. We got a couple more comments. CCC, Chargers have the number 1 scoring defense in the NFL. That's the only defensive stat that matters. Chargers played 7 of their 17 games against playoff teams and played Bengals. Bengals are not a playoff team. 2 of those are Broncos. 2 of those are the Chiefs. I think both of those games, the Chiefs weren't who they are now. Their offense was dog shit. Again, yeah, you had the lowest scoring defense in the league is because you drain the clock out. You drain the clock off. So, I mean, there's no limited possessions. We already went through the schedule, so we're done with that, buddy. And then we got Engineer says Johnson is dealing with a thigh injury. Yeah, I saw that, and it said illness too on the injury report. And then Engineer says, fun fact, Stroud is the youngest QB in the postseason this year as well. Yep. People forget. Brandon says Texans number 2 in the NFL at creating INTs. Yeah, I saw that. So, and then Herbert's like the same. So something's got to give, right? And we saw we did a Goff. Engineer, if Stroud can get past his mental block, he can light them up, but something is off with him at times. Yeah, he just hasn't been playing good. He's tired of getting pressured every play. So, IG, Vic, the fact that Rex Ryan said Chargers have a bye just because through playing the Texans is crazy. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Let's see. All right, let me just we'll be done here in a minute. Let's go to the fun part, which is these little tidbits. So we got one about the Chargers O-line. It says their starting O-line has played 64% of their snaps together this season, the 4th highest by any team starting unit. So basically they've been together for a while. And then it talks about during their 3-game winning streak, which was Broncos, Patriots, and Raiders, mind you, they allowed the 2nd lowest pressure rate in the NFL over that span. Well, yeah, y'all played dog shit teams. Texans have generated the 2nd highest pressure rate in the NFL this season and fared well against the run, allowing opposing rushers to record the 2nd fewest rushing yards over expected this season. Advantage us in the run game. That's a big one there. And then Joe Alt they got these stats about him having, the lowest pressure rate. Let me make this bigger here so I can see it. It says Joe Alt allowed a 6.9 nice percent pressure rate when aligned at right tackle this season, eighth lowest among players with at least 200 pass block snaps at the position. Uh, anyway, so it talks about him, and then in a minute it'll say basically Hunter's lining up against him. So it's like, okay, you will see how that holds up. Again, I kind of looked at like he hasn't played a lot of good pass rushers, maybe Max Crosby. But yeah, I don't think they've seen a pass rush like ours. And then you got, Daniil and Will, the stepbrothers. They're the only team in the NFL to have two edge defenders rank in the top 10 in terms of pressure rate this season among players with at least 200 pass rushes. Hunter is second and Anderson is seventh. Additionally, they are one of 8 teams with 2 players, Hunter and Anderson, that have recorded over 50 pressures. Hunter and Anderson total combined 23 sacks this season, the third most among edge rushing duos in the NFL. That's pretty good. And then Khalil Mack, it says, while the Chargers generated a 34.5% pressure rate that ranked 14th highest league-wide, they converted their pressures to sacks at the 10th highest rate. So basically, they don't get a ton of pressures, but when they do, they somewhat tend to capitalize. And then Texans defense, the Texans blitzed on 40% of third down dropbacks this season, the 5th highest, generating the 5th highest pressure rate when doing so, and the 2nd most sacks when doing so. So basically, we blitz a lot on third down, and it's successful. And we'll see here later that, Herbert is not relatively good against pressure and doesn't get it that often. And so that's, what we've seen happen where we've did that against Goff and against Allen. So that will bode well for us for sure. Make sure we're good there. And then Chargers, this was interesting. Chargers defense, they've generated a 32.2% pressure rate on early downs this season, 11th highest, compared to 40% on third downs, which is 23rd highest. So basically, all teams are expected to have a higher pressure rate on third down, but their relative scale is not as high. So basically, if the Chargers are going to get pressure on us, it'll be early and not late on the downs. And then let's just make sure I get a couple good ones. Let's see. Yeah, it talks about the Texans O-line. We shuffled our offensive line frequently this season using 11 different combinations with at least 10 snaps. And it says, despite the high number of unique combinations, they only had 8 different linemen play at least 50 snaps for them, tied for the 5th lowest. So basically, we weren't shuffling because of injuries. We were shuffling because we sucked. This was interesting. Derwin James, I alluded to this earlier, is one of 2 players to play at least 10% of their snaps on the line of scrimmage as a slot corner, as a safety, and as a linebacker this season. He's recorded 21 pressures this season, tied for most among all defensive backs, and has rushed the passer 69 times. Nice. His most in his career. He also allowed 4.9 yards per target in coverage, 2nd fewest among all slot cornerbacks. So basically, Derwin James is a beast at any position, and we have to see where he's at every play. I'm trying to just read the ones that are important, but I like them all. And let's see, Texans offense, CJ Stroud. We have allowed the 6th quickest time to pressure this season, 2.58 seconds, surrendering a quick pressure rate on 18% of his dropbacks, 3rd highest. So 18 times out of 100, 20%, roughly, basically one out of every 5 plays that CJ passes, he's getting rushed in under 2.5 seconds. Like, come on, dude. And then let's see. Charger. So I alluded to this earlier. The Chargers defense utilized light box defenses on 75% of plays this season, 2nd highest. When doing so, they allowed 4.7 yards per carry, 6th fewest. So they basically are daring us to run, and we need to run the ball. And then, yeah, I talked about Deontay Johnson, like his snap splits. He had 20 snaps, and that was 34% of the play time. So he played a decent amount. And then in those 20 snaps, 17, he was out wide, basically like I alluded to. Tank Dell was out wide on 75% of his. And then Deontay was 70%. So basically, like they're the same position, is what they're saying. That's kind of what I expected. And then we got a couple good ones. Chargers defense against CJ Stroud. Chargers utilized zone coverages at the fourth highest rate this season, roughly 80%, including the second highest rate of cover 4. Stroud recorded the fourth lowest drop back success rate against zone coverage, 40%, throwing 10 of his 12 interceptions against zone. So they run a lot of zone. CJ struggled against zone this year. Need to run the ball. And then when you pass, short, quick passing game. And this is a fun one too. CJ Stroud threw for 699 yards. Nice. On passes outside the pocket this season. Third most in the NFL. Stroud attempted passes from outside the pocket at the fourth highest rate, almost 20%, but still spent an average of 2.8 seconds in the pocket on dropbacks. So, this could be part of it too, is he's holding onto the ball too long or not flushing the pocket soon enough. And so it's just not all on the O-line is what this indicates. And it says Stroud has totaled 1,250 yards on passes outside the pocket, third most behind Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. So, he's flushing the pocket a lot. That checks out. And Herbert, it talks about the interceptions, whatever. This is a good one here. Nico Collins averaged 11.6 yards per target against off coverage, which is 5+ yards of cushion at the line of scrimmage this season, the fourth most among receivers with at least 25 such targets. Collins aligned out wide on 74.3% of his routes, facing off coverage just over half the time, 50% in that alignment. Matchup: the Chargers played off coverage on the outside at the highest rate in the league at 81%, with an average of cushion yards of 7.3 yards. So Nico is great versus off coverage, and the Chargers run it a shitload. Hitches, slants, quick outs, 10-yard outs. And I think y'all hate to hear this, but screens. I mean, if they're playing that far off, just throw them the ball, make somebody miss. They'll probably run a lot of Nico screens. That's crazy. And it talks about Herbert throwing it downfield. Just want to make sure it's good enough to read to you guys, but I don't want to mumble too, even though I am. It says basically he's pushing the ball down the field. This was a crazy one. Joe Mixon, he was contacted behind the line of scrimmage on 51% of his rushes this season, the highest rate of his career. Despite limited room to operate, he averaged 4.1 yards per carry and recorded an explosive run rate of 11.4%, both of which are the highest marks since his rookie season. So basically he's had dog shit blocking, but it's still had one of his best seasons. So it's like, all right, if we can improve the blocking, then let's see what really happens, and then this one, Justin Herbert used play action on 32% of his dropbacks, second highest rate in the NFL and the highest rate of his career. So this goes back to what I was saying. The offense simpled it down, dumbed it down for him. You don't have to do much. We run the ball a lot. And then when we do pass, it's play action. So the defense is fooled. So they've made it easier for him and for Josh Allen. So, if we can stop the run, this play action is less effective. That's the big key for me. And then, like I said just a minute ago, Danielle Hunter versus Joe Alt. Danielle Hunter generated 90 pressures this season, second most in the NFL. His pressure rate, 19%, was second highest. And then the matchup, Hunter aligned on the left edge, roughly 60% of his snaps this season, projecting a matchup against the right tackle, Joe Alt. And they said that he allowed a 6.7 pressure rate this season, fourth lowest among rookie tackles since 2018. All right, now you're going against Danielle Hunter. We'll see, how it shakes out. And then it says something about Dobbins. Basically, I don't know if that was the one I was going to read, but there's a stat saying that Dobbins is a good tackle breaker, so we need to make sure and tackle him. And then there's Kalen Bullock. I'll read that one. Safety Kalen Bullock was targeted 28 times, allowing just 11 receptions, the lowest completion percentage, 39% allowed as the nearest defender this season. Bullock also made a play on the ball, 5 INTs, 6 PBUs on 40% of the targets, highest among defenders with at least 25 targets. So, I mean, he's a ball hawk, bro. It's crazy. And then it talks about Chargers using 22 personnel and which is two tight ends and 2 running backs on 11% of plays, second highest. Them and the Ravens, that's that old school run the ball. And, they basically run the ball in that situation. They ran 143 plays with at least 7. This is crazy. With such groupings, the Chargers lean heavily into it. They ran 143 plays with at least 7 285 plus pounders on the field this season. The next closest team, the Ravens, ran 28 of such plays. So I do hope that the run defense we saw against the Ravens was just Aziz being gone, short rests, us not adjusting the game plan. Because if they run the same way, that's game. Because they were running the ball all over us, and they're going to come out in some heavy personnel and try and do the same thing. But yeah, I think we're getting pretty good on that. We'll talk about old Lad. Lad McConkey recorded the second most receiving yards and receptions over expected among wide receivers in the slot this season. He averaged 10.7 yards per target from the slot, fourth most. McConkey was also effective in the intermediate passing game. Texans defense has just allowed 6.9 yards per attempt to slot targets this season, fifth fewest, but a lot of that was with Petrie and Ward. And then including a minus 0.7 completion percentage over expected on such targets. So hopefully that holds. I don't know how that'll be. And we'll finish off with one on CJ Stroud. He's averaged 6.7 yards per attempt against split safety coverage this season compared to 8.8 as a rookie in 2023, second most that season. It says Stroud also recorded a lower passer rating when facing split safety coverages. That's the same stuff we've seen. Like he struggled against split safety this year. Comments, engineer. We need Loveland, Booker, Ratledge from the draft, and an excellent wide receiver in free agency. We should be contending next year. Yeah, and we still got a shot this year. Sideline Sarah. I didn't know until this week that Herbert had only 3 interceptions. Yeah, I mean he's played good, but like again, a lot of it's kind of like by design, like how they game plan stuff. That's the power of Harbaugh, man. Brandon, we were shuffling because of injuries, though. Kenyon injury, Patterson injury, Scruggs injury, Shaq Mason injury. Yeah, we were for the O-line. I guess it was a mix of that and we sucked, but I guess the injury started it. But in our case, we were glad the injury happened with Kenyon, but he was going to be benched anyways. But yeah, you're right. But it wasn't like, a lot of the same guys I saw came back. Engineer, all in all, I'm kind of happy with this season. 10 wins, back-to-back AFC South titles, and our schedule consisted of a majority of playoff teams: Bills, Packers, KC, Ravens, Lions. Tough young team. Yeah, I agree. It's tough on a young team. I mean, I'm happy. Obviously, I want to win this game. And like before the season, my goal, or not goal, but like what I wanted from the Texans was to make our first AFC Championship appearance. But I think at the least is I want to get past this round to be, pretty content. But I'm with you, man. And then engineer also said, y'all remember when Panay Sewell went up against Hunter? That is true. That is true. Good point. And then Arthur Fox says, we will end this game with 0 sacks. I don't think that's going to happen. Dicker the kicker. I don't like all this Houston underdog hype. This is different. Yeah, I'll take it. Sleep on us. Engineer says, if Stroud can get past this. Yeah, we read that earlier. So, all right. Well, yeah, that's all I got. I appreciate y'all tuning in. Again, if you don't mind, just, subscribe to all the, follow me on all the platforms. Appreciate you guys. Subscribe to my free newsletter. Yeah, that's all I got. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Let's get this dub. I think the Texans will win. Initially, I was saying like 23-20, but I've kind of gotten more confident. I will now say that they will win 27-13. And, I think if we do get out to an early lead of like 7-10 or 10-14 points, I think they're forced out of their offense, which is all this heavy running. Now they're having to throw the ball in 11 personnel they don't have the personnel for. And now you got Herbert for the first time all year trying to get out of his comfort zone and really sling the ball around. We saw it with the Bucks, like it could get ugly quick. So I could definitely see that happening. But I'll stick with 27-13. That's all I got. I appreciate you guys.